This is Luca and Logan. They will walk you through the demo and answer your questions later on. But first, Sebastian, will walk you through our slides, introduce you to our case and what we did. So we are Keeps, the attrition manager. We're not a full solution yet. We are just the solution of our team for the AI for Change Capgemini Hackathon. And we worked on the attrition problem statement, so working out to find or identify employees that are likely to quit, that we are likely to lose, and to figure out what to do about it. So why is this important? So attrition has high costs. So on the one hand, we have the cost for the company. The company needs to find someone new to replace the person leaving. The company has to retrain this new person. You have a loss of organizational knowledge. On the other hand, you have the cost for the person leaving. They probably weren't satisfied with their job. They maybe had problems there, so it was a negative environment for them. Maybe it didn't make them happy, maybe it may even made them unhappy. So identifying this might be also interesting for the employee, because maybe not everyone is comfortable to talk to their boss that they want to take more free time, maybe they want to travel less, or maybe they have a big problem at the moment and they are not comfortable with voicing that on their own. So they would be happy with their superior coming to them asking, is everything all right, or do we need to change something? Are you happy? So another dimension here is the scale. A survey conducted by the European Union was that around 80% are not really satisfied, happy with their workplace. They're low to moderately satisfied with it. So there's a huge potential for people being dissatisfied and unhappy at their workplace. The question now is, how do we find them? How do you find out about it? How do you find the people who are unhappy? Do you find out about their problems at their exit interview? That might be a bit late to change something, at least for them. So we thought about and built Keeps, the attrition manager, with an actionable dashboard that quickly lets a manager overview their direct reports and dig into the reasons for them being unhappy and getting recommendations on what to do. They will get a classification of the employees by risk of leaving and by the impact. Because sometimes maybe you only care that your highly important employees do not leave at this critical moment. And that's it from my side, from the case. And I will hand over to Luca now for the demo.
Okay. There you go. Thank you, Sebastian. I will show you the demo. This is a prototype we built pretty much on our free time in the last couple of weeks. And it's based, well, we did a couple user interviews at the beginning of September with our PDLs, and then we tried to find the pain points in the processes and which customer journey we could tackle, where is the most benefit to be reaped from such an AI-based solution. And one of the first things is, as Sebastian said, it's to be proactive. So in a quick way. So as a manager, I want to see in one case which are my employee that may be at risk of leaving. And one of the first feedbacks we received is not only are we necessarily interested in the leave probability, because, well, a little bit of attrition is fine. We just want to keep the good people in a certain sense. And that might be not completely politically correct from a corporate point of view, but you know what I mean. And so we added the second dimension of the impact. What you want to be focusing on is your upper right corner over there, where you people at high risk of leaving and actually high impact for your company are. And we have developed the Keep score. This is the color you see. Goes from 0 to 10. 10 is the best, and 0 is pretty much people that are already left or are pretty much leaving. And this is based on an IBM public HR data set, and has a higher predictability score, prediction score than the original IBM Watson, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And so what can we show? This is the team overview, right? You are the manager. This is your team, and you see John has already left, and so has Robin. You already have your exit interviews. You might have some feedback for the tool. Maybe the tool didn't provide you with a reason, something you could do before they left. But what, of course, you're the most interested in are the people that haven't left, for obvious reasons, but are at a relatively high risk of leaving. And for example, we have our Don Murray, and we can jump into the second screen where we can see the single employees. And so we have Don here. And there was also a feedback. A manager can, if you have such an AI model, you can just spit out a number, say the person is at 70% risk of leaving without providing some causes, something for the manager to do. And for example, based on the features our data set has, we can see that Don is, like the model predicts that Don might leave, especially because of his overtime. There are certain factors that outweigh this at the moment, like his marital status is in favor of him staying, or his gender, but the overtime might be a big problem. So what are you going to do? You're probably going to schedule a meeting with Don and his project lead and discuss how he may actually reduce his workload or take some vacation time or both. This tool gives you the possibility not only to have a gut feeling, okay, why it might be leaving, but instead it tells you actually why. And I have one more screen to show you in our prototype, which I'm really, really proud of. Well, I mean, Logan should be proud of it, but we're proud of it as a team. And this is a little bit of a different use case. Let's not think locally. You're not a manager in a location, but you are maybe a global HR executive, and you're Capgemini, 200,000 employees, 40-something countries, and you just have a big overview, and you're interested in Germany, and so you see here Berlin might be fine on an office level, but you have, for example, Stuttgart and Frankfurt, which are doing very good. And one thing we want to tackle in the near future is actually an aggregated root cause analysis on an office level, for example, or if you think hierarchies on aggregated team levels. But we don't have this in our proof of concept yet. But this might come in the near future. And this might also be interesting, for example, for smaller offices, for bigger offices, I mean, where my PDL has like 40 persons below him, and it's so it's really hard to have a quick overview over each person constantly. This tool might help you in kind of support you in what is essentially the first step of the communication with the employee. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any
thank
questions?
you for your attention. Yeah.
Please.
You looked at internal data sources here or not?
No. Maybe you want to take that?
Yeah, so we tried getting HR data from Capgemini, but unfortunately they're very strict with their policy of giving up employee data. So what we did use was the IBM data set that's out to the public, and that consists of about 30 features with all your basic HR information like name, age, job level, how many years they've been working at this company. So it's basically a data set that any company could really develop on their own. Yeah, because in Germany we have issues with data privacy. We weren't allowed to use that data, but yeah.
Yeah, we actually started...
It's good.
But my advice would be to actually look at one external data source, and that's the activity of a person on LinkedIn.
Yeah, we were also considering that as well with like taking different data sources, for instance, LinkedIn, and meshing it with maybe our internal skills database and getting an idea of, okay, for the impact score, how important is this employee? Is a skill that's readily available in the market, or is this person someone we really need to keep? Is it going to affect our operations?
That is from a key perspective, but also if somebody starts to brand himself on LinkedIn,
yeah, it's a good indicator.
Actually have a trigger to
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great point.
But it would be a bit creepy, right?
Yes.
But there will. I am creepy.
True.
We need to cut this conversation.
but maybe we can continue it over with something to drink outside.
One question also, how much did your model now predict correctly in sense of which have already left, or when you ask, are you really going to leave us?
Yeah, so we had about 1,400 observations, and to begin with, we split it up into 60% just to train, and then 20% to validate that, and then ultimately this holdout test set that scored 84% predicting employees. I think IBM's original model, Watson model, predicted 82%. So what we used here was basically H2O, and it's a really great way of basically doing a lot of the hard, heavy lifting machine learning stuff for you. Basically, we set up a grid search and found the best parameters in order to predict attrition rate. Yeah.
I mean, it would be amazing if we could really test that solution with Capgemini data to see if it actually works, if you can actually do something with that.
Yeah.
Would be the next step. We just developed this solution during the hackathon, so in the last month. So yeah, maybe we can do it in the future.
Because if you see a person can leave, you can also try to avoid them to leave. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it will also recalculate in your model if you run it the second time.
Yeah, so that's another thing with the data set is it's just a static look at a bunch of employees. Our idea is that this is a constant updating information, and then hopefully these metrics will change. So maybe we cut out over time and we see Don Murray is like super happy with his work. Yeah.
If we have another minute, I could show that in the click dummy. So, but just if you're interested. Yeah, then I would just quickly, I hope it will show up here. So, so we developed it kind of in a two-stream way. So we had a UX and design stream working on how this is going to look and feel and what do we want to do with it. And then the other stream actually developing the model and working on our proof of concept that we could actually show you with real data that we can calculate it. So the idea here would also be to offer the this data over time. So how did this employee's score changed over time? And what were the reasons here for this score? Maybe we can link it back to what we did. Maybe there was really low satisfaction here, but then there was, they got a raise or they got a promotion and now their score is over here. So that we can kind of also track this and maybe in a second or third or fourth iteration maybe come up with a kind of meta model, what happened here, and make it even better there. But first, to offer this drill down, what happened in the history of this person, and also offering recommendations right from this dashboard, like also something in the future, like, okay, if you give this person a raise, it has a 40% probability of them staying at the company, but if you offer them more free time, some more holiday, then it will increase to 80%. So with other people's, with this profile, this worked best. So maybe try this first. Of course, then we have more like augmented intelligence where the line manager will be like, yeah, I know this person maybe not the right thing, I'll do something else, but that's like the idea vision we went into that. Yeah. Any other questions?
So what are your plans for the product then? Where would you like to be in 12 months' time?
Tested at Capgemini? That would be really cool. So for now, it's we're taking part in this hackathon. and would be really nice to win it, or at least and maybe then being able to test it. That would be really nice.
And if I might add on that, personally, I'm really thank you. Personally, I'm really a big fan of the feedback loop inside the model, you know, enhancing the model itself so that it develops over time. And especially LinkedIn was mentioned, actually employee surveys might also be a kind of input. The possibilities are fairly huge. We just started with a simple example of a HR data set, which every company has pretty much, and we got 84% predictability, and so I think that's also already a very good basis, but it can be improved in so many ways. So maybe one of these additional data sources would be one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I just want to add, I think in one of the talks today, someone mentioned having a base model that kind of really drives the prediction, but also having that extra 20% that's unique to a company that'll add to it. And I see the more clients we have, the more data we have to train on the model, the better it'll be. So, yeah, I definitely think it's something you can pick up in place in many organizations. So.
I said it.
Just totally different questions. How motivational did you find it being invited here to have a booth and to speak? And did you get any ideas and feedback talking to people here at Seawind?
Very and yes.
Exactly, like it was part of the hackathon. I mean, it was one of the reasons I tried to enroll everybody into this project, and it worked out great. And also, I received lots of positive feedback. Like I had to annoy a couple people to get the funding to get here, and that also worked out very well. And as you can see, and so that was definitely extremely inspiring. And the feedback was also very, very valuable. I think we had. A colleague of mine from the Netherlands saying, "Well, I mean, if you don't get the HR data set in Germany, just come over here. We got it for you." And I'm like, "All right, sounds great." I mean, it's pretty much yeah, exactly. Call us. It's I mean, I think I can say with fairly high confidence that it's easier to get data anywhere but else than Germany, pretty much. So I think.
It was a key assumption when we started working on it. Like, okay, we are working on this challenge, but we are not basing it in Germany. Because getting this data is really, really hard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.